what a press conference. Ooh, what a press conference. I don't know you, but I watched it twice. I was expecting an answer about Andrea Cambiaso. Would he be there tomorrow for the Derby della Mole, yes or not? What about Vlahovic? What about Conceicao? But I was absolutely not ready for how the Derby della Mole was already starting there. In the press conference of Thiago Motta, Torino Juve already started. Like it was like a boxing game, you know? When they are there face to face, they are nearly ready to fight. Sometimes they even fight. Well, this is what we saw in the press conference of Thiago Motta that I will explain you because a lot of things has been said and extremely important things. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. For the people that are really interested in calciomercato, Kolo Muani, Araujo, exit mercato, I redirect you to the video that we uploaded this morning that is starting to do quite well with a lot of click-through rate, which is really beautiful because that means that people are really interested in the topic. Go back in the video of this morning, but here we speak about a press conference that was really hot. If you didn't yet, please continue to support me, even if it's the second time of today, with a maximum of like, continue to subscribe. So we start. Thiago Motta, I tell you, first feeling, that's important before the words, looks like he was extremely prepared. He was and he is perfectly aware of the moment of Juventus. He knows that at the moment a lot of Juventini are extremely angry. He knows about the worrying moment. He knows that that loss in Supercoppa, the way that it came after the draw and the way that it came against Fiorentina, without speaking about Venezia, Lecce, Bologna, etc., there are too many, he perfectly knows. And he was also really prepared about the question that he would receive from the journalist. Just to tell you, he started immediately anticipating some of the questions. And he also knows perfectly who is speaking to, who are the journalists. Looks like the first part of the season, everything that he was writing on his papers, like the name of the journalist, etc., well, he memorized them and he knows who he's speaking about. Well, he starts immediately telling, I can't wait to enter the field and to win. This was extremely important, the first intro of Thiago Motta. I can't wait to enter the field and to win. We know it, that obsession of winning, that is not an obsession to winning, you know, something that he spoke about last week before the game against Milan. That was actually a huge, big boomerang. He came back on it. But before that, let me start with the end of press conference where indeed, the Derby della Mole is really heating up, where the journalist Emanuele Gamba, that is, for the people that are following Italy, media, journalist, paper journalist, etc., you know that Emanuele Gamba is a journalist supporter of Torino. Well, he asked a question to Thiago Motta. He said, do you fear that the team is a bit scared, a bit shaky, that due to the result, the recent result, the team is playing with a bit less certainties? Also you, because we forget it sometimes, but you are an extremely young coach that for the first time is obliged to stay there on top of the ranking. Are you also shaking? Where Thiago Motta is looking at him and is telling him, I see and I hear a Torino supporter that tries to put chaos in the environment. No, I don't think the players are shaking, but you are a big Torino supporter, isn't it? Attenzione. Attenzione, what an answer on Thiago Motta that partially answered. Look, it's strange. I tell you immediately my feeling. Trying to not be a Juventino, not be anti-Juve, I will try to be objective as much as I can. It's a strange answer. For years I'm following these press conferences and we know it, that you have Juventini, you have non-Juventini that are totally neutral, and then you have also supporters from other teams that are working to cover Juve, for example, in that press conference. Never I have heard a coach, whoever it was, Sarri, Pirro, Allegri, Lippi, speaking, referring to the journalists as you are supporting that team and that's why you are trying to put some chaos in the environment. I remember one answer like that from Allegri, but in a way much more diplomatic way. Do you remember the days of the -15 when on television, who is speaking on the other side? It was the lawyer of one of the lawyers of Napoli that came with that blue tie. Do you remember where Allegri said you have a really beautiful tie, referring of course to Napoli and to the link to Napoli without mentioning the team. Except of that I didn't answer. So it was really a strange one. Also because the question from Emanuele Gamba was not even that much no, it was not even personal. Yeah, you are a young coach, could be. But it was not that much a crazy question. Then of course if you go towards you're a young coach for the first time that is obliged to go for big ranking in Serie A, could be taken personal. And then we have the answer of Thiago. I told you, strange answer. On the other side, I think that Thiago Motta, as I told you, was extremely prepared for that. And he wanted to say something as a real Juventino. He was just waiting for the moment and he knew perfectly. I think whatever question would have come from Emanuele Gamba, he would have gone and destroyed him on that Torino side to show a bit of Juventinità. On the other side, I totally understand because the first reaction I had was, wow, you know, I needed that electroshock. I needed a Thiago Motta that I saw extremely passive, extremely low in strength, in will. I needed a shake-up. I needed a wake-up from Thiago Motta and seeing something like that. Extremely Juventino, defending Juve, because this is what we asked a lot of time. Defend Juve also publicly, not only to Thiago. Well, on the other side, I'm there. Of course, as always, I am looking at the positive sides. I'm looking at the negative sides, at the plus, at the minus. So it's really difficult for me to choose. Did he do well to say it? Didn't do well to say it. I think it was great for him to say something really as a Juventino. Maybe it was not the question that he was expecting to go out with that statement. But he continued with other important things, like, for example, coming back. And he really wanted to come back on that obsession to win or not obsession to win from the pre-game of Milan in Supercoppa, where he wanted to come back really on it. And he said, look, the need in a club like ours is to win. I went back to listen to what I said, and I have been, I believe, extremely clear when I said I have chosen this job to win. There are absolutely no controversy there. We know it's important to win. We know this is the most important thing to win. Then to win, it takes a lot, especially in the moment like this, and it requires a lot of work. So he really wanted to break that statement. It was not an obsession to win. Even if, as I said it the last time, pay attention to the words that you're going out in press conference because you will be labeled forever. Whatever you will say after that, except if you go with an all-in and winning the 5 trophies at disposal, that became 4 because we are eliminated and we lost that Supercoppa. Except of that, it will be really huge as a boomerang. It's good that he came back on it. He wanted to put the dots on the I's. Enough to cancel that label? I don't think so, again, except if with facts is showing it. What about the absences? Because that's why actually I was following the press conference. Vlahovic and Conceicao out. Until this morning, I really was believing that, not Conceicao, I knew it, but Vlahovic would be at least on the bench. No. On top, of course, of Bremer, Cabal, Milik, and on top of the one that is suspended because of a yellow card, I believe it's the 5th one, Locatelli. Vlahovic out is a big one, Is a big one. I was at least hoping him to have him on the bench. No. Cambiaso was not mentioned in the absences, which mean without a promise, without 100% certainty that he should be at least on the bench. Of course, the squad list can be, I believe, today, even if we are not traveling because we are playing in the same city. We play away, but we play in the same city. Could be arriving this evening or tomorrow morning. Could be that Cambiaso is there and then that they take him away in the last minute. It already happened, do you remember, with Danilo at a certain moment. Then, this was the 3 main big topics, but it's not over because he spoke about captain, he spoke about Douglas Luiz. The first thing that he's saying is, I understand all the point of views, but at the moment we only lost 2 games on 26. With a very young team, some good performance, except of course of too many draws, and some injuries that we never took as an alibi. Or an alibi, I don't know how you say it in English. Look, a lot of people are saying, the injuries are not an excuse, the injuries are not that, and we are really proud that the club is not mentioning them. But it's true that lately, and especially today, when you come back on it, very young team. Honestly, very young team. It's a own decision, Cristiano Giuntoli, that made that team very young. So you cannot even mention it every single time. At a certain moment, you know that you go with a very young team. So that's the team that you have. If you keep repeating it, it means that you are not 100% satisfied with the very young team. We are looking at Mercato. Colomwani is 25. Zirkzee is 24, if I'm not wrong. Araujo is 25, or, we are there. So it's already a bit more mature player that we are targeting. A Hansko that is already 27. So that very, very young team, not 100% if we are totally convinced still now on the 10th of January about it. And then repeating again, the injuries are no alibi. Ragazzi, if you keep repeating it, then it starts to be an alibi, which I totally agree, because if you don't have Bremer, if you don't have at a certain moment, if you put it in the balance, it has that importance, of course. But he's saying we want to repeat or we want to thank once again the big work of all the guys that are giving a lot. We must give the max in training with the objective to win. Again, underlining, repeating the words, we want to win. Recuperating some points in Serie A, continuing our path in Champions League and Coppa Italia. So he's already putting us the objective from now on until the end of the season. What about captaincy? That's one of my big things. I said it for the people that are following the live, I believe yesterday and the day before. I said I dream, but it will never happen. But I dream that Thiago Motta is telling us, this guy is the captain from now on. That's the hierarchy of captaincy at Juventus. Well, the question came from Giovanni Albanese, where the answer of who will be the captain now without Danilo, the answer of Thiago was, Locatelli is not there tomorrow. You will see who will be captain tomorrow. Giovanni Albanese asked 3 times to really understand. Okay, we understand tomorrow, but we don't care about tomorrow. From now on, is there a hierarchy? Is there a fixed captain? And is it Locatelli? Because you're telling us tomorrow he's not captain because he's not playing. Is it Locatelli? Again, we had 3 times the same repetitive answer from Thiago Motta that didn't answer actually. He said tomorrow, Locatelli is not there, you will see who will be the captain tomorrow. Which, unfortunately, can be interpreted in 2 ways. Yes, it is Locatelli, but not tomorrow. Could be. Or, I didn't decide yet, but I will decide. Or, we will continue to rotate that armband of captaincy. They spoke about leaders. About leadership, he said, of course, the coach has an impact in the locker room in deciding who is the captain, who is the leaders, to identify the leaders, but pay attention because usually it's players that are recognizing leadership by themselves. They look at someone, they understand that he has leadership. I, as a coach, or the coaches, they observe what is going on. They take notice about that, but leadership is mainly about exemplarity. On that last part, I totally agree about leadership. Players recognize who are leaders, that you have the armband or not, even if, again, I repeat, I was really expecting a captain. Maybe it will come after a game of Torino when we recuperate Locatelli. What is the best role of Douglas Luiz? He continues to speak well about him, saying it's midfielder. He can play in the 3 positions that we have there, especially in the way that we play. He can score, he can assist, he can build the game, he can improve in the defensive phase like all our midfielders. And then he finished with, we had 1 week to prepare the game, we are ready. It's not actually the end of the press conference, it was somewhere in the middle, but that's also something that I wanted to underline. We had 1 week to prepare it, we are ready. Guys, that was it for a huge one, a huge press conference. I tried to structure it a bit with big macro topics. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video will not flop because it's important to understand the state of Juve. So that's why I'm counting on you. If you really love the video, please put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe to the channel and share this video with the people that unfortunately were just reading online the reports and probably will miss a lot of interpretation of things. Grazie, forza. Heating up the derby. Ciao.